actually in the piano mics.
Piano mics, is that a polarity thing, or is that a requirement?
It's basically we just hear it when we monitor very, very loud.
Right.
If you're performing, there is no buzz whatsoever hearable.
Well, I mean, yeah, right. I drowned it out with the performing, but so we can't get rid of that.
Can try another mic. I'll do that first.
Whatever you're doing there, Peter, it sounds good.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right. You rolling?
Yeah.
Long may you run. We've been through some things together, with trunks of memories still to come. We found things to do in stormy weather. Long may you run. Long may you run. Is my world not falling down? I'm in pieces on the ground, and my eyes aren't open, and I'm standing on my knees. But if crying and holding on and flying on the ground is wrong, then I'm sorry. In 1970, when they played the Fillmore East, I went up from Washington, D.C., where I was going between Washington and L.A., where I lived. And by that time, I'd made a record with Neil and knew him and David quite well, so I went up as a guest and actually spent the day going to have lunch with David Crosby. And at a young age, got to be friends with Graham and David, who actually sang on my last record for me. But, my opinion was, big Neil Young fan. I thought he was a great addition to the band. Thought they made some great music. It's interesting because this big article in one of the European rock magazines was this big history of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And all of them were they were saying it, that Neil's kind of the boss. We all add, but if there's a decision, final decision, Neil takes that role. And they were talking about the last tour, where he wanted to do the Living with War record. And he kind of sold that concept to them. But, my opinion is they made great music. Apparently, a lot of them felt that because of the excesses of the late 60s and drugs and success and the craziness, they felt like for all the great things they did, they should have done even more. But that's their opinion, not mine. I was grateful. They made some great music that inspired me. In fact, it's kind of a side story, but they're talking about Woodstock, the song Joni Mitchell wrote. And living in Topanga Canyon, David Briggs, one of his best friends, was a famous comedian at the time called Murray Roman. And Donovan, who was having big hit records in America, was Murray Roman's friend. And he and his producer Mickey Most came, and Donovan lived with Murray. And Mickey Most wanted to produce some recording sessions with Donovan. And they hired Three Dog Night's band, which was a #1 band at the time, beautiful band. And David Briggs was hired as an engineer. And again, David was such a hard charger, an intense guy. I don't know how he did it, but somehow he convinced Mickey Most and Donovan to tell Three Dog Night not to bring their guitar player. And he got me substituted. So we cut about half an album, beautiful, live in the studio with Donovan's great songs. He was a sweet man. Yeah. I'd already been a big fan. And this great band I'd gone to see, but I was playing guitar. I don't know how David did that, but David did a lot of things like that. And then one day they came to work, we were all excited to get this record done, and they said, look, we're very sorry, but our singers are very upset that we're doing all this session work with Donovan, and they've told us we have to stop.
And they were miserable, because they were having a great time. And they literally said, we're done, we're not allowed to record anymore.
What happened to the recordings?
Well, at that point, Donovan and Mickey Most, everyone was disappointed, and they thought, well, I guess we're done. And David Briggs, once again, because he's a very...
Real good, intense friend.
Yes, and he just stepped in and said, you don't have to stop recording. Nils has a great band called Grin. We can get them in here right now. They're out in Topanga Canyon. We can start recording tonight. And sure enough, Grin came in, we set up, and next thing we knew, we recorded another half a record with Grin backing up Donovan. Plus, right up the road, Crosby, Stills and Nash Young were making the album with Woodstock on it. And like John Sebastian would come in and play guitars, harmonica. Stephen Stills came in, played organ with us on the track. And one night, I'll never forget it, we were, finishing up late at night. And all four, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, came like blowing into the studio, these giant new, like all these obscene fur coats, just huge, just obscene fur coats, and all of them had the same coats on. And they said, look, we just finished and mixed the song Woodstock. It's incredible, you have to hear it. And they put on the master tape, 24-track tape, and we pinned the volume knob and listened to Woodstock, and it was spectacular. And then a few days later, we came to work, and to our horror, Mickey Most and Donovan had an argument. And Mickey went in, took all the master tapes and flew to England with them, and Donovan and us were left there with nothing.
So,
And Donovan and Mickey had a falling out. To this day, I do not know what happened to the tapes. And I've always tried to run down Mickey Most when I'm in England, and then he went and died on me 2 years ago.
yeah,
So, who knows? Maybe all the tapes are gone, destroyed.
there's no estate.
Maybe they're in Mickey Most's closet.
Hmm.
And to this day, I have no idea what happened to it. But it was a full album of great Donovan music, half of the Three Dog Night Band and myself, the other half of my band Grin, with great guests. So, another great story. But that, Crosby, Stills, Nash Young thing, I'll never forget listening to Woodstock and the giant speakers at Wally Hyder's. And even they were impressed, they were happy. They were like little children, like, oh my God, look what we did. It was very cool.
All the things you know, feathers fall around you and show you the way to go. It's over. It's over.
Thank you.
Is that all right?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cool.